When the city of Palo Alto in California's Silicon Valley released a new community website earlier this year, the site wasn't really finished. Instead, the city asked residents to try out the unfinished site and tell them what worked and what didn't. Those comments were used to refine the site and finish the project.
Rather than waiting till you have the product perfect, you effectively go live with the sort of minimum feature set. Gives the user an idea of what the business is, provides a platform for very iterative and frequent feedback, and over time you get the product that you want, but you don't get it initially.
It's known as the lean startup approach, and it's widely used in the tech industry, which routinely releases beta versions of new products. And now it's catching on in government. Palo Alto's used lean in several city IT projects, and here are a few lessons learned. First, you need to think differently.
You know, we do come from a world, both in the private sector too and the public sector, where the delivery of the product or the service is on day one is seen as very important, that the requirements are met, that we don't disappoint anybody, that quality is where we want it. What's happened though, if you look at the private sector, is big name companies such as Google and others, they do release their products in a beta, in an early stage format, and they do gather a lot of feedback. And what's happened, because so many people use these products today, they're becoming gradually conditioned to almost be comfortable with it.
Second, make it easy for users to give you feedback.
We actually, in a couple of projects, moved around the feedback areas so that they were more dominant and easier to use. We reduced some complexity. Rather than forcing the feedback person to check off a lot of boxes or to fill out a lot of mandatory fields, we just said, you know, we need your name, can we contact you, and tell us what the feedback is, submit.
Third, lean won't work for everything.
There's going to be projects, particularly those very big, complex projects that will have to go through a very, a typical life cycle. Right? And you've got to do your diligence. The big ERPs, the big financial systems, they don't lend themselves terribly well to some of the current lean philosophies.
Reichenthal says he's pleased with the results so far, and he expects to use lean concepts in more city IT projects, including an effort this year to create a comprehensive mobile app for residents.
We are clearly faced with a history of projects that we'd like to go faster, a lot of projects that take a long time, and a lot of projects that by the time they get done probably aren't close enough to the initial requirements. So we got to look for different ways, different practices, different models for moving from idea to execution much faster.
You can read more about emerging development techniques in Government Technology magazine or online at govtech.com.